The Wraiths of Ravens Bay. Ravens Bay is a secluded stretch of coastline in the Pacific Northwest, known for its treacherous waves and jagged cliffs. The beach, perpetually shrouded in mist, is a place of eerie beauty. The locals whisper of strange occurrences, of ghostly figures seen wandering the sands at night, and the haunting sound of distant screams carried on the wind. Many believe the bay to be cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who met their untimely end in its waters. Chapter 1: The Invitation. Dr. Claire Madison, a marine biologist with a passion for exploring the unknown, received an invitation from a reclusive millionaire, Samuel Whitaker. Whitaker claimed to have discovered a rare species of bioluminescent algae in the waters of Ravens Bay and needed her expertise. Intrigued by the prospect of such a discovery, Claire accepted the invitation and set off for the remote coastline, accompanied by her research assistant, Mark. They arrived at Whitaker's sprawling mansion, perched precariously on the cliffs overlooking the bay. The mansion, with its dark, Gothic architecture, seemed to loom over the landscape, casting long shadows in the fading light of day. Whitaker, a gaunt and mysterious figure, greeted them with a cryptic smile and led them inside. Chapter 2: The First Night. That evening, as they settled into their rooms, the mansion creaked and groaned, as if it were alive. The wind howled through the corridors, and the distant sound of crashing waves echoed through the halls. Claire, ever the skeptic, attributed the sounds to the age of the house and the fierce coastal winds. As night fell, they decided to explore the beach. Armed with flashlights and sample containers, Claire and Mark made their way down the steep, narrow path leading to the shore. The mist hung heavy in the air, and the moon cast an eerie glow over the landscape. As they reached the beach, Claire noticed a strange, faintly glowing substance in the water. Excited, she began to collect samples, while Mark wandered further down the shore. Suddenly, a bone-chilling scream pierced the air. Claire dropped her containers and ran towards the sound, finding Mark standing frozen in terror, staring at a ghostly figure emerging from the waves. Chapter 3: The Haunting Begins. The figure was that of a woman, her eyes hollow and her face twisted in anguish. Her hair flowed like seaweed around her, and her skin was pale and translucent. As she moved closer, her form flickered and wavered, as if she were made of mist. Mark, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as the ghostly woman reached out towards him. Claire, thinking quickly, grabbed his arm and pulled him away, retreating back to the mansion. They burst through the door, gasping for breath, and Whitaker met them with a knowing look. "The Wraiths of Ravens Bay," he said quietly. "Spirits of those who drowned here, unable to find peace." Whitaker explained that the bay had claimed countless lives over the centuries, and the souls of the drowned were said to wander the shore, searching for a way to rest. He had hoped Claire's scientific mind could help uncover the truth behind the legends, but now they were all caught in the web of the bay's dark history. Chapter 4: The Dark History. Determined to understand what they were dealing with, Claire and Mark delved into the history of Ravens Bay. The mansion's library was filled with old journals, maps, and newspaper clippings, detailing shipwrecks, mysterious disappearances, and sightings of ghostly apparitions. One particularly chilling account spoke of the wreck of the Sea Serpent, a whaling ship that had gone down in a violent storm in 1853. The crew, unable to escape the sinking vessel, were said to haunt the bay, their souls bound to the place of their demise. Another story told of a young woman named Eliza, who had thrown herself from the cliffs in despair after losing her lover to the sea. Her spirit, known as the Weeping Woman, was often seen wandering the beach, searching for her lost love. As they pieced together the stories, the haunting grew more intense. Ghostly figures appeared more frequently, their mournful wails echoing through the mansion. Objects moved on their own, and the temperature dropped dramatically. The wraiths, it seemed, were growing restless. Chapter 5: The Search for Answers. Desperate for answers, Claire and Mark decided to seek out the source of the hauntings. They returned to the beach, this time equipped with more sophisticated equipment, thermal cameras, EVP recorders, and motion sensors. The mist was thicker than ever, and the air was charged with an unnatural energy. As they set up their equipment, the temperature plummeted, and a heavy silence fell over the beach. The waves seemed to hush, as if waiting for something. Suddenly, the EVP recorder crackled to life, capturing a faint, sorrowful voice. "Help us," it pleaded. "We are trapped." Claire's heart pounded as she listened to the recording. She knew they were dealing with something beyond the realm of science. Determined to help the spirits find peace, she and Mark continued their investigation, focusing on the site of the sea serpent wreck. Diving into the cold, dark waters of the bay, they discovered the remains of the ship, now a ghostly silhouette on the ocean floor. As they explored the wreck, they found personal items, a locket, a journal, and a rusted knife, that told the stories of the doomed crew. Claire felt a deep connection to the spirits, and she vowed to find a way to free them. Chapter 6: The Ritual. Back at the mansion, Whitaker revealed that he had been researching a way to communicate with the spirits and help them move on. He had discovered an ancient ritual, passed down through generations of the local indigenous people, that could potentially release the souls trapped in the bay. The ritual involved invoking the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, to cleanse the area and guide the spirits to the afterlife. Claire, Mark, and Whitaker gathered the necessary items for the ritual: stones from the cliffs, water from the bay, a fire pit, and a feather. As they prepared, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged, and the ghostly apparitions became more aggressive. The spirits, sensing their intentions, were both hopeful and fearful. As night fell, they made their way to the beach, where they set up a circle with the elements at each cardinal point. Whitaker began the incantation, calling upon the spirits of the earth and sky to aid them. The wind picked up, and the waves crashed against the shore with renewed ferocity. Chapter 7: The Confrontation. As the ritual progressed, the spirits began to appear in greater numbers. The crew of the Sea Serpent, their faces twisted in anguish, emerged from the waves. Eliza, the weeping woman, stood on the shore, her eyes filled with sorrow. They watched silently as Whitaker continued the incantation. Suddenly, a dark, malevolent presence made itself known. The spirit of Captain Elias Blackthorne, the ruthless commander of the Sea Serpent, materialized in the center of the circle. His eyes burned with hatred, and his voice was a low, menacing growl. "You dare to meddle in the affairs of the dead?" he snarled. "You will pay for your arrogance." The air grew thick with tension as Blackthorne advanced on them. Claire, summoning all her courage, stepped forward and confronted him. She spoke of the pain and suffering he had caused, not only in life but in death, and pleaded with him to let the spirits find peace. Blackthorne's face twisted in rage, and he raised a spectral hand to strike her down. But before he could, a brilliant light filled the circle, and the spirits of the crew surged forward, their collective will overpowering their former captain. Blackthorne screamed in fury as he was pulled back into the darkness, his hold on the bay finally broken. Chapter 8: The Aftermath. With Blackthorne's spirit vanquished, the mood on the beach shifted. The wraiths, no longer bound by his malevolent force, began to fade, their expressions softening as they found peace. Eliza, her eyes filled with gratitude, smiled at Claire before vanishing into the mist. The temperature returned to normal, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Claire, Mark, and Whitaker stood in silence, processing what had just transpired. They had succeeded in freeing the spirits, but the experience had left them forever changed. They returned to the mansion, where they carefully documented their findings. The bioluminescent algae, the shipwreck, the personal items, all were part of a larger story, one that they vowed to share with the world. But they also knew that some things were best left to the realm of mystery and legend. Chapter 9: The Legacy. Ravens Bay, once a place of fear and darkness, slowly began to heal. The locals, no longer haunted by the wraiths, spoke of the beach with reverence and respect. The mansion, now a center for paranormal research, attracted scientists and investigators from around the world, all eager to uncover the secrets of the bay. Claire and Mark, their bond strengthened by their shared ordeal, continued their work, exploring other haunted locations and helping restless spirits find peace. Whitaker, content to have played a part in freeing the souls of Ravens Bay, retired to a quiet life, his once gloomy mansion now filled with light and life. Chapter 10: The Return. Years later, Claire, now a renowned expert in the paranormal, returned to Ravens Bay with her own daughter, Emily. She wanted to show her the place that had changed her life and to pass on the knowledge and respect for the supernatural. As they walked along the beach, Emily noticed a faint glow in the water, the bioluminescent algae that had first drawn Claire to the bay. Together, they collected samples, marveling at the beauty of the natural world and the mysteries it held. As night fell, they sat by a campfire, the waves gently lapping at the shore. Claire told Emily the story of the wraiths of Ravens Bay, of the brave crew of the Sea Serpent, and of Eliza, the weeping woman. Emily listened with wide eyes, understanding the importance of respecting the past and the spirits that lingered. Ravens Bay remains a place of beauty and mystery, a testament to the power of the human spirit and the enduring connection between the living and the dead. The wraiths, freed from their torment, rest in peace, their stories woven into the fabric of the bay's history. And as the mist rolls in from the sea, carrying with it the whispers of the past, those who visit the bay are reminded of the bravery and compassion that brought peace to the haunted shores of Ravens Bay.
Don't forget to subscribe.